Hey everybody, I'm Trevor.
I'm Vincent.
We are the Anthony and Todd Show, and today we're going to be picking up on the second part of our worst of the year list. Today we're going to be talking about our worst projects of the year.
Yeah, all the bad albums, EPs, mixtapes, etc. are going to show up on here.
Kicking it off, we got Greta Van Fleet's Anthem of a Peaceful Army. And I'll be honest here, Greta Van Fleet deserves the hate that they get because they are just blatantly copying off of Led Zeppelin or Van Halen or literally any others like 70s band that sounds like this. They, I think, in essence, don't perform badly, but they are so generic and so much of an imitator that there's nothing special going for them.
Yeah. I didn't listen to this album, but I've listened to my dad sing Van Halen before, so I'm pretty sure that's what it sounds like.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Next we got Del the Funky Homosapien and Amp Live's album, Gate 13.
There's some good like grooves on here that Amp provides. There's some great verses that are provided on here. But there's just weird moments, and it's so long, and it's meshed together, so many ideas. There's this, like, weird EDM section.
It can get really generic as well.
And it's just, like, even, like, there's good moments, but they don't last for that long, or they're all that important, and, like...
It's immensely disappointing for me, because I hold Del pretty high up, as far as, like, artists that I respect. And I think that he was a really good, respectable artist, him and all of his collaborators. It's just disappointing to see something like this come from an artist like that.
And even the weird EDM section, it just reminds me of a track I didn't even want to be reminded of, which was the Get Lit, I think that's what it was called, the track by Will Smith last year, which was just, like, someone completely out of their element and corny and cheesy and generic as hell. And this just has moments like that compared to that. And it's just really disappointing.
Next we got Logic's Bobby Tarantino 2. This is the follow-up mixtape to his first Bobby Tarantino. I've never heard a wider mixtape in my life. Besides like maybe a Lil Dicky project here and there, Logic... I think he's just always been a meme and so self-indulged with himself. First it was like, I'm the biracial thing, like I'm not even full white, so stop calling me that. And then there was like, oh, I've got a gaming channel now. And then there was, I love Rick and Morty, so I'm gonna suck Dan Harmon's dick and then record it.
Yeah, it's just like, this thing is one of the most outdated things because on the album cover it's him and his wife. They like a week after they split. Rick and Morty is already like one of the most like annoying things. Just because I think at the point the writing of the show, when you look at it as a show, it's just doing the same shit. And it's I respect Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland, but like Justin Roiland's just doing the same shit. And it gets so fucking old after a while. You can't improvise everything unless you're like doing like a 10-minute show on Adult Swim.
You're gonna start with the same jokes again, you know? If you just continue to improvise, the same things are going to keep popping into your head, and you're going to keep... It's not
unless you want to be us, like just terrible. Like don't be us, because you have a budget, you have a crew of animators that apparently hate you because you're just so fucking improvised. But that's about Rick and Morty, and that's like another meme for another channel.
I find Logic to be the epitome of that dude that is like, you don't like Rick and Morty? Why not? And he loves anime, and he loves Dead by Daylight, and he loves playing Fortnite with his buds as he listens to Eminem and still thinks he's the greatest artist of all time. Yeah. And wears Slayer t-shirts.
Yeah, but there's just like, he wears his influences of all the artists he's copying on his sleeve. Like, he wants to be J. Cole, he wants to be Kendrick, he wants to be all these artists. Over the various projects he's done, he's had these influences, and you can wear your influences on your sleeve, but you got to do something original. And now he's just the point where he's just trying to be him, and it just comes off as cheesy. And it's not because he's white, it's just because he's annoying. Like, I don't think Logic's race has anything to do. Because I'm white, and that doesn't make me annoying. I'm just annoying because I'm an asshole.
Yes. I think that the white playing into this is like the whole like Rick and Morty is the greatest show of all time, and like I think I hit my breaking point where I was just like, Logic did an entire track about weed, and then at the very end just yelled, if you haven't figured it out yet, I smoke weed, and then the track ended. I was like, are you kidding me?
I think Logic lives in California. Does he know it's actually legal there?
I don't think so.
Someone give Logic like, I don't know, like a phone.
Watch is the type of person that would turn himself in for weed charges in California to look cool and try to like act hard, and then the police being like, you can't do it, like it's legal here, you can't do anything. Like, hi 911, I'm stepping on the grass and I'm not supposed to.
You see Young Thug get arrested for drugs, he's trying to copy him.
Like, I'm gonna do the same thing. Oh, that's the type of person Logic is. That's why I have no respect for this mixtape at all.
It's just he's so annoying, and not even like 8 Wu-Tang features that appear on like the Forever Wu-Tang track that appeared on this next album could get me semi-interested to actually going through the mess of like whatever the fuck his next studio album was, and like I was good. This is enough Logic for like 4 years.
Next we got, here's a bit of a hard blow here. The Soft Moon's Criminal. Alex Marco, I'm really sorry. Fans suggested this to us, and we shit all over it. I feel bad.
Fan and now acquaintance / friend suggested this, and it's such a shitty industrial album. It wants to be 9 Inch Nails so bad, but it's like, it's not 9 Inch Nails. It's just like shitty wrestling theme songs. It does the same thing over and over again. Just move on. Like, it's just bad. If you want to hear bad industrial music, listen to this.
Or King Cruel.
King Cruel's like post-punk. He's not really industrial.
It still reminds me of
just super moany, I guess.
Next we got Snail Mail's Lush. I will never understand why so many publications are listing Snail Mail as one of their top artists or one of the top albums of the year.
Can I get real for a second? Okay, full frontal. I don't have beef with Snail Mail. I don't. I think this album's bad, and she's really repetitive on it. But like, I don't have any beef with her as a female, as a her sexuality. I think
you said it yourself. The repetitiveness makes it bad.
But like, I want to get into this instance, and I think this is why it's been so glorified, because I haven't heard a review that hasn't mentioned it besides ours, because I wasn't even aware. But Snail Mail isn't straight. She isn't. And as someone who's bisexual, and like, I don't even think that applied to this album, and it didn't even like make me think or showed up, or I just assumed that she just had a partner, doesn't play into it. But I haven't heard a review that hasn't overhyped this with some like mention or a couple mentions of her sexuality into play.
Yeah.
Which isn't really prevalent in this. But she writes the same song over and over again. It's a singer-songwriter revival, but it isn't like raw and like distinctive like Soccer Mommy. It isn't like honest and greatly written by like Anna Birch. It isn't as like dealing with these deep subjects or like I don't know, these cool narratives like Mitski. It's just lost and super repetitive, and it's super flat, and it talks about the same style of relationships and just being burned out over and over and over again.
Right.
That's it.
No, I definitely agree with all
Again,
those points.
going back, I don't have any beef with her sexuality. I don't think that's a problem with this album. I think it's a problem more with how it's been presented.
I've honestly found it more of a problem with the music reviewing and publications that we've, come across. Like, I think Pitchfork listed this as like, what, number 5 or something? Like, it's really high up on their end of the year list. And I think a lot of it has to do like, wow, so brave, so bold. Like, she's talking about her sexuality on an album.
But Brockhampton's 6.
Yeah. But like, it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's not about the sexuality that puts it so high. But they like, I think they're grasping at something that's not there. And I feel like, not to speak for Snail Mail here, but I feel like she wouldn't have wanted it that way. For people to like focus in on her sexuality and be like, this is what this is about. That's why it's so great. Because overall it's just really repetitive and it's not pleasant to listen to because of that.
It's making attachments to things that aren't there.
Right.
But like there's other albums that have pushed either sexuality or the idea of love way further than this, and publications are just lost to it.
Yeah, completely.
Serpent with Feet, completely best example. We just listed off a bunch of singer-songwriter albums.
Janelle Monáe is not at the top of that at all.
It's just like so many ideas album, and like Snail Mail, it's just lost. It's lost. Is it the worst album this year? It's one of the worst in my opinion, because it just felt so long and foreboding. But,
well, there's a lot in front of it.
And I'm not saying she doesn't have potential, because she does showcase a lot of potential in the like moments like Pristine and Heat Wave, but I don't think there is any.
But yeah.
Thing super special past that in the 40 minutes that's presented.
Next we got Jack Harlow's Loose. First introduced to Jack Harlow through the single Sundown, which is
phenomenal,
absolutely fantastic.
A phenomenal track with clips like Cool Kids Like Groove.
Yeah, it's
very
such a
cheap but like relevant. But Jack Harlow also has this charisma that's very smooth. It's like taking G-Eazy's like stylish kind of like 60s like greaser charisma and applying that to
putting
like
it in a nerd.
Yeah.
Like the Jerry Lewis like old Nutty Professor nerd.
Yeah.
And that track is incredible. The reason it's so low is because the rest of the album is very trap inspired.
It's just trap.
This
is
just bad.
It's G-Eazy. The rest of the album is G-Eazy and trap. Jack Harlow isn't like distinctive. There isn't anything notable. I feel like I was sold something. Like I got like a faulty Soulja Boy. I feel like this is a Soulja Boy game console. Like I was promised like 500 games and like a bunch of cool Soulja Boy stuff, but I got a shitty like emulator.
I think this is probably the only instance of this year where we just got played.
Yeah.
Because the single was so good and the album was so bad.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's why we're bitter about it for the most part. Moving on to Future and Juice WRLD's collaboration. Future and Juice WRLD presents World on Drugs. This doesn't work because these artists don't work together.
They don't have any chemistry, and the only time I enjoy a track on this is when it's between Future and Lil Wayne. And literally the thing that ties them is their just drug habits. And it's so spaced out and annoying and just weird that I really enjoy it. But other than that...
Juice WRLD should be collaborating with people like him. Future should take a long nap and sleep off his lean.
Yeah.
Moving on to Camila Cabello's self-titled Camila. We talked about it a little bit in the worst songs. But Cabello here just makes some really mindless pop music with some honestly like bad vocal technique. I think Havana pulled us in a little bit. Her popularity, like rising popularity, pulled us in a little bit. Young Thug grabbed me by the ankles and just dragged me down. And I was like, all right, let's go. But the rest of the album does not live up to any sort of the hype that Havana put out. And the seeing Cabello even popular anymore is ridiculous.
We get edgy moments like Real Friends. We get high-pitched and unvocally like possible, also like shouldn't be vocally possible because they're so annoying. High-pitched vocals will never be the same. It's just so lost. It's so flat. It's a terrible pop album.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
Next we got Nasir.
Wait, he's still alive?
I think.
I thought he died after Illmatic. And like Stillmatic was just his dead corpse. Just
Stillmatic was his posthumous. That was his backup files that they found. And then he released Nasir. I was trying to explain this to somebody the other day. Nasir is bad not because the album itself is bad, because Kanye's production on here, I think Kanye is trying his hardest.
Yeah.
I think Kanye's doing everything that he can to make Nas's corpse dance here.
Yeah, everything. Cop shot the kid, the best indicators of that.
Nasir is bad because Nas is bad. And Nas's verses are lifeless. They're uninspired. They hold no weight whatsoever. Nas is sleeping across this entire thing. And Kanye's like, come on, man, like, my career's riding on this.
Yeah, I just got over a fentanyl addiction. I'm more awake than you.
Yeah. I just find it so disappointing because I feel like Nas was such a driving force in that 90s hip-hop. We talked about it. Illmatic is considered one of the greatest hip-hop albums of the 90s.
And it's very indicative of a time and a place.
I think it was.
Scene.
It's an incredible like picture into what was going on, but Nasir, I think, is just. I mean, I can't even. It's like Nas trying to make this comeback album, and it was supposedly done for like 2 or 3 years now. You know, so many people have told us. DJ Khaled told us, and like Nas's brother told us the next year that his album was almost done, and he ditched all of that in favor of this. And this was the best possible product that he could have come up with. It's just immensely disappointing. What has he been doing for all this time?
He wants to act like he has these new conscious ideas, but none of them are new or none of them are interesting, and he's not bringing any flavor besides the obvious statements that are being made. Of course, cop violence is bad. It's important, but it's not important.
You're not saying anything about it.
But if you're just gonna tell me it's bad and not evolve into like new stories or new ideas, why are you talking about it? Because it's just more of like you just coming on stage, hey y'all, cop violence is bad, and then walking off. Okay, we got the statement, but why the fuck are you doing this? And Kanye West
Why are we on the hee-haw?
Yeah, it's just like, why? And like, he's so, even on that one beat, Cop Shot the Kid, he's just over encumbered with beat. And even Kanye is later on. God bless his soul. But like, that beat's amazing. And like, none of them can live up to like the fastness and the pace. You have to be like insane.
Yeah, they're falling behind, losing beats here and there. It's kind of disappointing.
But yeah, Nas is old. Illmatic is a window that has a beautiful landscape of New York outside. Nasir is a window that you look out and it just has like another brick wall outside. Nothing really, not a view, if you would call it that.
Yeah.
A view.
Next is Justin Timberlake's "Man of the Woods" from earlier this year. Justin Timberlake is not a man of the woods, and here he's writing some of his cheesiest material possible. These are radio force-fed hits. Stuff like "Filthy," which I would even consider probably the best track on here, and that's not even a good track to begin with. Justin Timberlake is just not making good music this time around.
He's cheesy. He's not a man of the woods. Either the southern or woodsy vibes he's bringing in do not fit him at all. Mm-hmm. Nothing fits. Every time his wife shows up, it feels forced.
Are they even married? Like,
she feels robotic. He feels like he wants to show off his son on the album, but that feels forced. He feels like a cringy dad, and I can't say anymore. And like tracks like "Supplies" make him seem like he's woke. It reminds me a lot of the Katy Perry album that came out last year. Like, I'm woke. Look at me. I know about capitalism and how it's bad. Wow.
That's it.
It's just like,
hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Capitalism's bad.
Hey, y'all. Let's revert against capitalism.
And that's it. Next, this one's probably like one of my most bitter moments is YG's "Stay Dangerous."
Your most bitter moments? I remember you being visibly angry with me when I did shit in the review.
That's why I'm bitter with it, is because I expected YG to be good, but he wasn't.
YG on his previous project, Stay Brazy, had a great throwback G-Funk sound that was politically conscious, but in his own unique way. Moments like "Fuck Donald Trump"
and "Who Shot Me"
are actually indicative of that in their own strange, unique manners. This is just him taking Still Brazy, pissing on it, and then shitting on it, and then giving it to DJ Mustard, who adds guitar over the top of it. And then making a shitty pop album.
This is essentially like
a shitty trap album.
This is essentially like YG went and read the reviews of Still Brazy. He was like, "Oh, you guys like my gang references? I bet I can make 85 more on my new album."
It's like a feature the Chicago Kid. Yeah. You must reference the Bloods in every track, or else the Bloods are gonna get them.
I mean, that's essentially what this is. It's ridiculous. And I wanted it to be good because I liked Still Brazy quite a bit. And the fact that it's not is just like annoying. But I think he also deserves the hate that he's been getting, because maybe he'll clean up his act.
There's also some moments where I think he's parodying himself, where he just seems like a giant joke. And he's not aware on it. There's some performance on here where he's just doing vocal performances that are just mind-numbingly awful. And like, I just don't understand what is happening on the track. I'm just lost. I just want to get over this and pretend it never happened. So can we move on to the next one?
Next we got Princess Nokia's "A Girl Cried Red."
Emo rap is not your niche. Go back to your underground hip hop shit. Done. Go over to
Next we got Lana Del Rey's "Shadow World."
Learn how to use FL Studios. Don't press the same four keys. I actually don't have beef with her. She seems like legitimately nice.
She seems nice, but the project was
so
bad.
Boring. Taking from horror film scores and just making a bloated,
but not like a good one.
But not even like making an ambient sound case or anything that was interesting. It was just like lost. It just seems like she was just adding random elements all over the place. She seems nice.
Next we've got Muse's "Simulation
Stop
Theory."
trying to sell me stuff. I already
Stop
have
trying to be God, Muse.
Ready Player One took all my money. I don't have any more money.
I spent it all in the Donkey Kong arcade machine. I don't have anything left. You can't mug me, Muse.
I already bought 10 NES classics. I don't have any more money. This is just Muse's shitty operatic one-note style with 80s music. And 80s music is so overplayed. There's no resemblance.
It's not good. Like,
there's no style here that I think is good. And I think we should leave it at that. I think our review sums it up. Also, You have a track called Dig Down. Is that what it's called? And you're making a bunch of 80 references. Dig Dug, motherfucker. That is the obvious, the retro arcade game. You dumb motherfuckers. Just move on.
Next we got Animal Collective's Tangerine Reef.
Okay, I got to go on. Okay.
We already did the...
No, we got to do it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Hey, you want to see some plants? This is just... It's attached to this visual.
They put a microphone in the ocean.
Literally, everything is reverb so high, it's so wet that it's supposed to sound like it's in a cave. It has these large spaces. None of the music is interesting or psychedelic or experimental. It's just like shitty alternative rock put through... Shitty post-punk put with in like a wet room. And there's a large cathedral-like space or cave. It's shitty. It's supposed to be attached to this like coral reef visual. It's not a soundtrack. It's an album. And I don't care if you give a shit. It's not a soundtrack. It isn't. It's an album because it has its own version.
That's what it's released as, yeah.
And then there's the visuals attached to it. The visuals are okay. That's not on the worst albums. The actual albums on the worst albums.
Next we got the Weeknd's EP, My Dear Melancholy.
What?
This was... this was bound to come, I think, just from the Weeknd's career.
I think it was bound to fall in love, actually.
What would Rome think?
But, like, Weeknd is boring. He has been doing the same shit for, like, since, like, 2013 now.
Yeah. Seriously, never changed up his style. Sometimes he works with, like, different collaborators. Like, when he worked with Daft Punk, people were like, this is different enough. And he worked with Kendrick, and they're like, all right, this is different enough. But it's still just The Weeknd doing the same exact voice and style and everything. And people that think he's influential obviously haven't listened to this, because it's not good.
And literally... He is influential in, like,
most influential.
Oh, no, definitely not. And, like, starting some of these trends. But with this, after his breakups, Selena Gomez, he is already, like, so, like, emo-like to begin with. He's even moanier and annoyinger and just complains even more on this, to the point where I would rather listen to XXXTentacion because at least he screams occasionally and can wake me up from my sonic nap that Weeknd puts me.
Next, we got Drake's Scorpion. Half of this sucker is rap, half of this sucker is R&B, and neither of them are good.
He doesn't even mention Sting on this. He doesn't even mention the Scorpion Deathlock or the Scorpion Death Splash, and I don't even know what this even has to do with Sting.
Next.
Did I get the right album? Oh no, it's the album where he's hiding a child. Oh, like he's trying to pretend that he isn't a fuck up and doesn't have this child out of wedlock, and like
thinks that he beat Pusha T.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Drake's an asshole. Drake's the problem isn't that he had a child out of wedlock. It's that he's refusing to acknowledge that like he's had like this mistake in his one life, and he refuses to like actually show sympathy to his baby mama and just still be an asshole.
Still just like denying.
And the like also we live in Dayton, and the fact that he referenced it in this town on talking about like I've been pumping tanks from like Dayton to Cincinnati or where the fuck that line is. Why? Like, our town's already shitty enough as it is. Why do you gotta put it on your shitty album? Like, we already have, like, tons of people ODing in the streets on heroin. Like, we don't need more people. We don't need more people ODing on your fucking... tweeting your fucking lines. Oh, I'm from Dayton, so I relate to this. Literally, I've seen, like, 15... The day that came out, 20 people that I knew tweeted that.
Yeah.
Including our good buddy Andrew tweeted that, or at least referenced it a few times. Yeah, this Drake's an asshole. Move on to the next one.
Next we got Migos' Culture 2. This is the granddaddy of bad albums this year.
In any other year, this would have been our number one. Do you realize that, right?
No.
This would have been the worst thing.
Oh.
In any other year.
I thought you meant our number one
No.
It would
have been our number one worst.
Yeah.
But this year we got 3 worst albums. By 3 people who, like... Actually were bad. Like, we're actually bad people this year.
Culture 2 is bad because it was written in approximately 15 minutes. It's 13 days long. This is actually used to celebrate Hanukkah and then some. It's not the oil burning on for 8 days and nights. It's Culture 2 playing nonstop for 8 days and nights.
Oh my god. That really shows you how hip hop's the zeitgeist. It becomes a part of Judaism. Jesus Christ. But this thing is just so... there's nothing important to it. It's a single vehicle for stir-fry motorsport. One song of which is not even probably interesting anymore because Cardi B and Offset have split.
Yeah.
Stir Fry is still a banger though, but that's mostly because Pharrell actually had him probably work on it for more than like 2 seconds.
He's like, "Come on, guys, we gotta stay on this for at least an hour."
The main problem with this is that it isn't longer. It isn't. They're not making these songs in about 5 minutes. They're not. This album isn't 4 hours long. Like, it could be worse. They can be way more efficient at making these tracks. They can even be more asleep. They can even kill trap even more. The main reason why this is dead is because Migos just killed trap after it was already dead.
Not to mention, each one had a solo project afterward.
And we haven't even gotten to those yet. We haven't gotten to the last two. We're still going to get to those last two. Because we're going to finish off this slump. We started on this journey and we're going to fucking finish it. But, like, I went through so much shit this year, and this Migos album was just one of the worst things to, like, start off the first month of the year.
I can't believe that Migos is still creating the same exact music. Like, literally, I think that the Quavo album could have been just tracks taken off of Culture 2 and mixed in a different order, and I never would have known. I never would have known the difference. And that's just what the type of music is. The Migos are oversaturating our music scene with so much trap that I like. There's no recovering from it, and that's why we have the hashtag Stop Migos 2K18, but it'll be 2K19.
We'll update it.
Yeah,
we'll update with the trends, unlike the Migos.
Yes. Moving on to our number 3 worst album, Eminem's Kamikaze. We talked about it a little bit earlier on the songs list. You'd think that after Eminem came back from his hibernation. As an old man, he came back from his shuffleboard tournament after eating all the hard candy, would reflect on Revival a little bit and all of the bad reviews that he got on it and say, I'm an older artist now, I can respect that, and I will try better next time if I try again. No.
He's like, yeehaw, buckaroos, I'm from Detroit, and I'm going to complain about these young folks.
The very first negative thing that somebody said on the first Revival review that Eminem read, I guarantee you he started to write his next song.
Literally, he complains about Lil Pump, Migos, which he probably should complain about Migos. Lil Pump, Lil Yachty, Migos, Machine Gun Kelly, who's not even relevant in any time period. Even when he was most relevant, he wasn't. Who else? He complains about Donald Trump, even though he is Donald Trump and he has the same, like, echo chamber that Donald Trump occupies. There's just so many things bad, and I think we've said it so many times at this point that Eminem is just lost. He's out of touch. He's out of date. And I can't wait for Kamikaze 2, Kamikaze, or next year, when he complains about people complaining about Kamikaze, which is this long, endless cycle of him making extra Kamikazes, complaining about how long the last album is.
And they're all gonna look like other Beastie Boys albums.
Also, he's blatantly homophobic on this. Before, Eminem was just using derogatory terms when he mentioned, like, the F word, but now he's just homophobic, especially with his Diss the Tyler Creator. He's just homophobic now. Like, he's just straight up. Yeah. And that's terrible.
Next we got 6ix9ine's Dummy Boy.
I skimmed this album out of curiosity. I didn't listen to his previous tape that came out before this, and I was just out of curiosity wanted to skim this, and I couldn't listen to the whole entire thing because it just hurt me so much, and just the fact that an artist could be convicted of having a sex tape with a minor and should be listed as a sexual predator is making music. And even when he's in jail or he's on terms of racketing, he's still able to release music. He's not even clear of any of the terms. The court date isn't even set yet. He's still, like, fleeing these terms, and, like, judges still think it's okay for him to release music. Like, one judge just said he couldn't reference any terms that alluded to a gang.
That's it.
Instead, just actually, like, getting his GAD or actually, like, stop making music. But beyond the shitty person and the ethical problem that is 6ix9ine, we got just a bad album that takes down Kanye West, who's already in a plentiful of heat for the shit he does, but at least he has mental health issues and actually, like, good music to back up the dumb things he does. And while his performances on here are good, Kanye's, they cannot save the remaining like 40 minutes that are on this thing. That is just like just this trash can of Takeshi 6ix9ine. We got a Bobby Shmurda feature that is taken from him in jail. Jesus Christ! Like why is this? Also, Nicki Minaj is on this. Why?
I never expected anything different.
Why is this okay? Why is this trending? Why is this on Billboard? Why are we allowed to like have these people as like forefront of artists when there's people who are struggling even more and are actually nice people and aren't affiliated with so many negatives? We get this. He just gets away with so much shit, and it's stupid.
Because he's popular.
And I'm like, I don't understand why. Like, he's not popular like a Drake or anything. I'm just like lost on what audience is attracted to this besides like, I don't know, like white trash. That's the only thing. White trash and like 13-year-olds.
Yeah, like dumb kids.
Yeah.
Basically.
And any other year, this probably would be our number one. So let's move on to what the actual number one
Our
is.
actual number one is Nicki Minaj's Queen.
She blamed the lack of sales and the fact that she wasn't number one on Billboard on Travis Scott's son. Travis Scott's newborn son was the reason why she didn't sell anything.
Besides attacking children, Nicki Minaj is honestly just
An asshole.
Blatant asshole. Yeah.
And like, I finished this. If I maybe finished Dummy Boy, I would put it under number 2 because I feel more confident in the spot. But Nicki Minaj is a blatant asshole. She started essentially this trend of diss rap that was unsensical and not worth it on the track Barbie Dreams that appeared on her album. Mm-hmm. The thing's so bloated. It takes from so many styles. It's a single vehicle for only the track Chung Lee, and the moment that appears with Ariana Grande, even though that moment isn't really good, it's so bloated, it's so shitty, it's such like a dick thing. She just seems as mean, she seems cold, calculated, and only like a pawn of a larger scheme. That's it. She doesn't seem unique original. She sells herself off for sex. She just seems like she's just fake. Just a very fake, like she just seems like a mound of plastic surgery. And I'm
just extremely mean-spirited, no disses for the right reasons.
And some moments on here literally disgust me because she'll talk about sex, and it's not like disgusting makes me blush. It's like disgusting makes me vomit because it's just like
it's so like explicit and unsexy
for a point where it doesn't need to be. It's not like counterculture. It's pop, and I'm not saying you can't do that in pop, but she's not doing it in a way that's interesting. She's doing it in a way that's flat, and I think it's kind of the flatness, but like the flatness, but the openness about that makes it just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And this is terrible. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I think a review sets it up best. Barbie Dreams is awful. It is just a terrible track, and she goes after Designer and Young Thug for no reason, and
as well as a plethora of others.
Also, Cardi B is better. Yeah, Cardi B exists, so this she can go away now, right? That's how it is. We have the one main like starlet of rap, and then the other one like vanishes in the shadow, right? She gets like sucked into the shadow realm, right?
Yeah,
because that's how our society works, right? It's just very sexist and stupid.
There can only be one.
Yeah, they should fight to the death. Cardi would win.
We also have Rico Nasty.
Ooh. Rico Nasty's not in the space.
Tearwack.
Not in the space either. But I like both of those artists still. I also like Cardi B, but even though I was not too happy with Invasion of Privacy, I think she seems more down to earth, especially when she's dissing Offset after asking for a divorce, which just seems so fucking baller. Yeah. I don't know. This has just been a really shitty year, but it has good sides, and we'll go into that in our individual list, and we'll probably talk about the best and the worst, and we're gonna have a year-end reviews later. But this is the worst. Stay away from this, or just go into it with intrigue. I'm gonna put up our my favorite review from this year, which has been Nicki Minaj's Queen. I'll put that on the screen right now for you, and then also our worst songs will be on screen. So if you want to check that out, you can. If you want to listen to our reviews in audio form, we got a podcast that premieres every week on Apple Music, Spotify, the best of the show in audio form. Links down below in the description. And if you want to talk with us about music, we had Discord. That'll link down below. But this has been a very shitty list, and I can't wait till get into good shit, because then we can realize that this year was more of a positive than it was a negative.
Oh yeah,
for sure. every guy that touches children and then releases a Billboard hit, we get
I'm trying to think of how many there was this year.
Does Donald Trump count?
For the sake of our list, no. If there were 10 there, for every guy that touches children and makes an album, there are 5 more that don't and put out good albums.
This has been a weird experience. I just want to end it. See you guys next time.
Bye, everybody.